Hello, I'm sure you're familiar with me. My name is Rashad Gawad. I have military commanding me at almost any minute. They sit there with me and pretty much babysit me 24 hours a day because they declared me as a really big agent or spy. At this point, I've known myself to be a spy, and some really big things have happened. But I want to talk about automation of weapons, trigger finger. So my pointer finger on my right hand, that would be the weapons trigger finger in this known state, which is a program, uh, which is based on programming. So what happens is, I say anything, but Donald Trump 9 fires my finger with the president's name and the command word of 9, which is not a German word for no, 9, but it's actually it's a numeral, it's a number. It's a number that was transmitted from military to me, and when I was thinking of a sequence that works in various environmental objects with remote facial recognition that affects each target based on the environmental field or the zone, what you like to call it. So, what happens is when I see Donald Trump 9, my finger is automated to fire rapidly. It's heavy processing. They're processing my cognition, they're automating motion of my body, etc. So, what happens is I would really like some support because I've done my homework. I've done all the research there is to do, and it really tells me that they're U.S. Navy Marshals, and they're Marshals of the U.S. Navy. I can confirm that with another person that spoke, "How do the Marshals control you?" or something like that. And she had her speech automated by the military to put the substitution in naming marshals to marshals before anybody else knew about it. And I was the only one to know this term, but I've never spoke about it in fear that the military could prosecute me with extreme force. So, when she asked me something about the marshals, I I confirmed, "How did you know that?" And she was like, "I don't know, I just said it." And what happens is the cognition is programmed with like everyone on Earth. They're tracking this and delivering the radio frequency or the beam of electrons for everyone. And they can, I don't know if it's triangulating or it's coming from one source, but it's coming from multiple nodes that exist between America and other countries, and that led me to believe maybe it's humming. But I don't really know, to be honest. Like, humming is a very serious thing, but it's like humming. It's like a theoretical clandestine operation. And what I understand is the Navy is corrupting America with at least one facility. And not going to get into that. But with this one facility, they're able to execute a lot of automation, heavy automation. So they don't have to program everybody independently. They can just select crowds of people or thousands of people, like an epidemic, pandemic for neurological disease or illness, um, such as Parkinson's, schizophrenia, Alzheimer's. I've experienced all these symptoms under different environmental conditions and different objects, but it's automated back to the brain, and the programs solve for themselves. So that's what I'm describing as automation. The program just solves for itself in all conditions. Excuse me, my speech is processed, so I hesitate, and I have to wait for the military to find my speech, because they control all the topics. They don't let something out unless they really, really acknowledge and want it out. And I mean, I might be the world's greatest spy, to be honest, but not to rub myself off, but just have an understanding like what that requires. It needs a neurological interface from a program or a computer that can program the brain remotely using electrons, or the same system has object recognition and analysis of molecular structure of objects. So what I'm thinking is the United States is far beyond denial. They were using the software to command human activity in ISIS. They did. They used it for ISIS as a contract from the CIA against America, and that's corruption. So when you really want to get into it, this is serious corruption. Very, very serious corruption. The military protects each permissive secret with their lives, okay? So that's where the term soft kill and this neurological explanation is, that's where it comes from, because people feel their chest palpitating, and there's parallel programming of military to determine whether the leak was worthy of annihilation. So you start to understand these guys are protecting secrets with their lives, which is really, really cool. But when things leak, you feel your heart palpitating, and you feel the loss, and then you feel the release of DMT and chemicals in your brain and serotonin that are released instantaneously after the annihilation of the target. But there's parallel programming that really determines the position of the military and the subject, such as myself, Rashad Gawad. So it takes a long time to figure this stuff out, because they don't usually mess with one person for too long. But I'm about 4.5, 5 years deep. There's been a lot of annihilation. There's been a lot of sequencing. There's a lot of secret permissive actions that the military delivers for my videos that I send the CIA and the FBI. So I recognize that the CIA and FBI is acknowledging these cases, but has defaulted on the Constitution of the United States, such as synthetic neurological speech processing, that tells the objective where to default. And I mean, yeah, I kind of fucked that up, but I'm sorry, my brain is literally processed in real time with a parallel program that repeats the military in milliseconds. They're milliseconds, maybe less. So, please understand that the military is really taking power and corrupting America using agents for terrorism. Okay? They call them agents. And they work with military. A lot of times the military is discreet to the cognition and not adequate to really perform, but I've overperformed. I actually have really extraneous research in specific topics that tell me about the military and the mind control that's going on in America, which I would call corruption. And that they told me that. They told me it was corruption. With my own mouth, they replaced the values of my brain, mastering my brain for corruption. There was one time, and I've said this before, that I committed myself to ISIS, which is an factual statement. It's not smart. I would never commit myself to ISIS because they're heinous. They're against the government, and a lot of these military commanders are... I'm not trying to bust the military, but I'm trying to cooperate with them so I can get this knowledge out to at least a YouTube fan base, FBI, CIA, and explain what's really going on in America. Like I said, if I say Donald Trump 9, my finger is just moving, shoot. And if I think Donald Trump 9, and then I think of see, there's something called synthetic photographic memory. Synthetic photographic memory is when the military installs to your cognition a program that doubles over the retinas process and relays information discreetly in a visual process to agents or people that are commanded by this military. Okay, and I believe that to be the U.S. Navy Marshals. I don't know for sure, but I'm really close to figuring it out. I'm the only one. I'm the only one. Because there's so much involvement with this topic. I know I'm the only one to get it right. And I'm not going to exclude, I'm not going to talk about certain things because they're very, very serious and harmful. And I really shouldn't even be a part of this. But I've been chosen. So I'm sorry for your time that you spent if you didn't find anything new. But U.S. Navy Marshals program Americans, program other countries, civilian population for acts of ISIS, mind control, corruption, illness, disease, anything you can think of. Please have a good day. Thank you for your time. Sorry if I repeated myself too much. My life is very simple these days. I just literally think about how I can construct this new material to share to the CIA and the FBI because they have some alertness on certain topics, and I do my best to deliver for my country as well as for my allies without causing harm to anybody for any cause or any reason. Thank you.